In this video, I'm covering the Principles Insurance VJMC Motorcycle Show 2025 that took place on the 4th of May in the National Show Centre, Swords, County Dublin. Now, the VJMC stands for Vintage Japanese Motorcycle Club, but thankfully for folks like me, the show isn't strictly Japanese, which is great because I had my Laverda on display, but more on the Italian Diva at the end of the video. Now, here are the bikes in no particular order. I'm sure I've missed a few, but I reckon I've captured about 90% of what was on display. Apologies for any bikes I've skipped. You are still loved, but just not filmed. I will put together a shorter video of my personal top picks, but this one's the full buffet. So sit back, grab a brew, and enjoy the feast. Let's start with a stunner. The Miller Yamaha. It's based on a 1984 500cc V4 two-stroke engine and borrows its frame, engine and tank from the same donor bike. But it doesn't stop there. It's got an R6 swinging arm, an R1 wheels, and a Jolly Moto GP exhaust. The seat is also from an R6 and the front end nicked from an R1. Basically, it's the best bits of Yamaha's parts bin all rolled into a weapon of a machine. Show stealer, definitely. Prize winner, you bet. Next up, a Suzuki AC50 Maverick. It's a 49cc two-stroke single with a rotary valve and air-cooled. It's got slender forks, rubber gaiters, shiny chrome fenders and a teardrop-shaped tank. It's very 1970s. I'm not sure of the exact year, but it screams 1970s louder than a Bay City Rollers reunion. Parked right next up to that little Suzuki is the complete opposite, a Honda CBX 1000 6 cylinders. These were made from 1978 to 1982, but were outsold by their sibling, the CB900F, introduced in 1979. I'm bringing that up because I actually owned a CB900F back in the day, but I still can remember one of Galbraith's brothers absolutely trashing a CBX around Mondello Park. That six-cylinder hell still haunts me in a good way. Speaking of muscle, here's a classic early 1980s GSX 1100. The square headlight and chunky design really shouts don't mess with me. It's fitted with Vance & Hines exhaust, so you know it doesn't just look mean, it sounds the part too. Now the Yamaha TRX 850, the Japanese answer to Ducati's 900SS. Yamaha borrowed the trellis frame idea and stuffed a 270-degree crank parallel twin, getting it to sort of V-twin feel. It was sold from 1996 to 2000 and came with a half-fairing clip-ons and a sporty riding position. Some folks called it the Japanese Ducati, which is a compliment, I think. Staying with Yamaha, here's a 2001 R1. These were hugely popular sports bikes back in the day, and this model was the last of the carburettor breed before fuel injectors took over, a proper analog beast with digital looks. Now on to street fighters. Here's a Suzuki with a custom headlight, modified oil cooler and clutch cover, and a very stubby Yoshimura exhaust. I'll admit, I'm a bit out of my depth with some of these custom jobs, but I appreciate the attitude. Next to it is a Harris frame Suzuki, which looks like Yoshimura engine parts, or at least the side casing proudly says so. Next, a mystery machine, probably a Yamaha powered, fitted with a spiky headlight unit, wavy discs, a custom oil cooler, upswept exhaust and bespoke seat. Very Mad Max meets Cafe Racer. If you recognise it, answer on a postcard. Back to more familiar ground. A Honda RVF 750 RC45. This one's mint. These were mid to late 90s homologation specials, built for racing, not lounging. Honda created the RC45 to take the fight to Ducati in World Superbikes, endurance and road racing, and eventually they gave up trying to beat the V-twins with V4s and built their own big V-twin of their own. And here's the V-twin, the Honda. This one's an SP2. Basically, the Honda's way of saying, if you can't beat them, join them. The SP2 improved from the original SP1 with better fueling and build quality, although if you look closely in the background there's a red SP1 lurking, a bike famous for catching people out with its snatchy throttle, a bit like a Jack Russell with a turbocharger. Now we're into proper racing territory. Here's the Honda SR125R. This is a purebred 125cc two-stroke Grand Prix machine built by Honda Racing Corporation. It's strictly for racing. No Sunday coffee runs on this one. It won 9 World Championship titles, which is impressive for something that sounds a bit like an angry hairdryer. I did fumble a bit with the filming here and missed a few angles. Sorry about that. Back to a Suzuki, and a real classic, a 1974 GT 250 Ram Air. It's a twin two-stroke, beautifully kept or lovingly restored. The Ram Air system supposedly channeled cool air over the cylinder heads using a funnel-like design. Suzuki said it helped to keep temperatures down. Others say it was mostly marketing, but hey, it looks fast and that counts for something. Next one fooled me at a glance. I thought it was a Yamaha, but it's actually a Bridgestone GTR 350 from 1970. These were 345cc two-stroke parallel twins with 6-speed gearbox, drum brakes and a reputation for smooth handling. This particular one has been race prepped with a replica Sealy frame. Not your average Bridgestone. This one skipped the showroom and went straight to the podium. A bike close to my heart, a 1989 Honda VFR 400R. I had one of these as a track bike. Gorgeous handling, just the right amount of power, enough to have fun, not enough to high side you into the bushes. What more could you want? Time for some serious touring machines. First up, a 2006 Honda Goldwing, the armchair of the motorcycle world. Parked next to it, where it all began, an original Honda Goldwing GL1000, first shown at the Cologne Motor Show in 1974. This one is from 1975, so it's one of the first to hit the roads. A little further along is a more modern Goldwing in red and black. I'm not great with Goldwing years, but I'm sure someone out there can identify it just by the shape of the luggage rack, but also pulling a trailer, just in case you fancy taking a shed with you. Then we hit Trike Town. First, a very shiny black GL 1800 from 2016. And right next to that, a maroon one, a lovely chestnut shade, or, as the French may say, marron. That's a 2018 model, also with a 1800 engine. You'll notice the wheel arch protectors, a wise choice for any passenger with sharp heels. Next is a GL 1200 Interstate, one of the fully dressed tourers of the era, followed by what I think is a GL 1500 SE from the mid-90s. I'm about 80% sure, but I feel you can correct me in the comments. Lastly, with the Goldwing lineup, a GL 1200 limited edition from 1986 with the classic squarer styling and cream and gold colour scheme. I should have read the info blurb on it, but then I'd have fewer chances to be corrected online. Now, this one's fun. A 1983 Honda Cub C90 done up in full Repsol race livery. It's got spoked wheels, chopped forks to fit bigger tyres, a twisted custom exhaust, and a new swinging arm with upgraded shocks. It's like the world's smallest MotoGP bike. Tiny but mighty. Up next, a Honda CB175. Classic little twin-cylinder four-stroke with a shiny red paint job. I've always remembered them in blue and with more chrome, but maybe it's just a faulty memory kicking in. What strikes me is just how small these bikes look. I used to think they were on the verge of a big bike. Judging by the integrated clocks and headlights, I'd say this one is from the late 60s or early 70s. Now here's the Scrambler-style Yamaha GT80 from 1981. Big thanks to whoever put the info on the card on the ground. And then a little pocket rocket, a 1986 Suzuki GSX R50, a proper race rep. Super clean, super cool, and surprisingly rare. This one had me scratching my head. I thought it was a YL1 100cc, but it turns out to be a 1966 AT90 YL1, a Japanese market only model, one of the first bikes to feature Yamaha's fancy new auto loop system. No more pre-mixing oil and petrol like some sort of mad scientist. Here's something unexpected, a Henkel Tourer scooter. Yes, that Henkel, the German aircraft manufacturer. You've probably heard mention them in every World War II film ever. These scooters were built to last and built to cruise. This one is in beautiful blue and white livery, and honestly, it's one of the classic scooters I've seen. Not quite a fighter plane, but it'll get you to the shops in style. Back to Honda. The 400N Super Dream. Compared to the 250 version, these actually had a bit of go. If you've ever ridden both, you'll know what I mean. The 250 was all promise, great bike though, but the 400 delivered the power. Next, a stunning 1958 BMW R50 in green with white pinstripes. 408cc, 4-speed and absolutely mint. This engine on these older BMWs is just joy to behold. Very Teutonic precision, if you like your metaphors a bit spicy. Onto a proper British icon. A BSA Rocket Gold Star. This one's from 1963, the last year of production. Full of character, full of history, and full of, they don't make them like that anymore charm, although there is new models being made now. Now, a Vincent Comet. A 490cc single-cylinder version known as the sporty model. You'll spot the signature girder forks straight away. Very distinctive, very Vincent. Proper old school British engineering. Switching back to a Honda SS125A from 1969. A beautifully built twin with classic lines and surprisingly refined for its size. Then the Kawasaki KH400 two-stroke triple with a wild bark and a reputation for keeping riders on their toes. Next, a Honda CB354, the smallest of the road-going four-cylinders of the time, known for its smoothness and clever engineering. And here's an early GS, solo saddle, air-cooled, Boxer, the bike that launched a whole new era in adventure riding. And here again is a Honda Bentley 150, first edition, compact, reliable, a true pioneer of the Honda's global success. Now, into some classic racers, starting with a Sealy 500, race bred with a single disc brake up front. Beside it, a Suzuki two-stroke twin with big hub brakes front and rear, pure 70s track style. Next up, what looks like a Honda 500 4-stroke twin, then a classic Triumph twin, likely a 500 as well. No info on the card. So we're kept guessing, but they look ready for the Isle of Man. Then this beautiful red Honda twin really stands out. That long narrow race tank and sculpted exhaust promises a stunning performance, a proper cafe race dream. Now for something from the early days of motorcycling, a BSA V-twin, more bicycle than bike, with its tall upright seating. Next to it, another early BSA, this one with different front end setup and even a passenger seat, a proper vintage tourer. Back to my kind of bike now, a racing Honda with traditional red and silver, wearing that classic old school fairing, possibly a 4-cylinder, pure nostalgia on wheels. Then a stripped back Honda twin, no fairing, just raw purpose, followed by another red full-fared Honda racer, and then a striking Suzuki 4-stroke twin in its great white and blue livery with Paul Shaw on the fairing. If anyone knows more, I'd love to find out. And here's a big burly Norton racing single, likely a Manx, built to storm the track. And finally, two beautiful turned out British singles, a deep maroon Matchless and an AJS, both classic single-cylinder racers, just gorgeous examples of British engineering heritage. back to some road going machines. We'll kick off this section with a Kawasaki K2 1000. This one looks very original and clean. The bike kinda says, I've had a careful life, mostly. Next up, something that made me smile. A chip style LAPD Kawasaki police replica. Fully dressed up with lights, siren and even matching helmet. Not sure if it arrests your attention or just stops traffic, but it was clearly built for fun. The owner turned up in fully dressed Chips LAPD gear, and I spent more time looking at this than I care to admit. I really enjoyed it. Onto a Kawasaki 500, one of the originals as they come. It's also rocking a steering damper, and trust me on these things, it's not optional, that's essential. Like putting reins on a wild horse. Next, a 1976 Kawasaki LTD KZ900, the cruiser style variant of the Kawasaki muscle bike era. Low slung, plenty of chrome, and enough 1970s attitude to start a bar fight. And then a Kawasaki Z1000 with 4-in-1 exhaust system. Very clean, very tidy. You know, the kind of bike that makes you nod and say, yeah, that's right. This is that. Next up, a Kawasaki ZRX1200, a 2003 American import in the classic Kawasaki green with white trim. It's got that muscle bike stance and Eddie Lawson nostalgia baked in. Sticking with Kawasaki, an imported 1979 KZ1300 in deep blue. It's square, it's big, and it's bold. These things were 6-cylinder behemoths, more cylinder than some small cars, and also an American import, and it's in great nick. Another 1976 Kawasaki, also an American import. This one says it was rebuilt in 2020. It's finished in that gorgeous brown metallic Kawasaki used back in the day. A colour that wildly shouldn't work, but absolutely does. I stood staring at this one for a bit of a time. I remember them, and when they were new, me on my CB125 trying to look cool and failing. A 1978 Kawasaki Z650, also an American import. These were everywhere in Ireland at one point. Solid, dependable, and now getting rare. This one looks like it's been ridden properly, and I respect that. Now a bike I'd seriously consider adding to my collection. The Kawasaki W650 from 2005. A classic vertical twin with retro vibes and clever engineering. Changing the shims on this is laughably simple. Just undo a bolt, swing the cams out of the way. Why don't more manufacturers do this? Next to more modern, Kawasaki Z1000. Fuel injected and moving towards the angular transformer styling. Black and gold paint with matching wheels. Very classy combo, no matter what decade you're in. Now a trip down memory lane for me, a 1971 YR5 350 in orange and brown. This bike was my brother's first big bike, and I still remember the awe and terror when it did first fire it up. I think I've still got the original owner's manual somewhere in a box, gathering dust and good memories. Onto a DOT 250 single, a British brand that's now revived. This one is running a Villiers engine with electronic ignition. Always a welcome upgrade. Love the front suspension setup too. It's got a real vintage charm with a touch of mad scientist. And now a real gem, a 1984 Yamaha RD350 YPVS. This one is fully restored, not a garage queen. It's regularly ridden and sounds like a banshee on caffeine. This is my mate's Kevin's bike, so I know exactly how much blood, sweat and money went into it. Every penny was worth it, and a prize winner in my books, even if the judges didn't agree. And then on to a PJ O'Kane Racing Team display bike. These ones were, I think, honouring the great Robert Dunlop, because this is the kind of colour scheme he rode under. He raced under this banner from 1990 to 1989. Pure history right here. A few more two-stroke Yamahas dotted around. One twin stood out, though I didn't fully get the details. just the smell and sound that brings me back to an era. And now some real old school stuff, earlier than my biking timeline. In 1910, Kynoch, if that's how you pronounce it. Not much I can say, other than it's incredible and it's still here running. A 1914 500 Triumph, small looking engine, but in its day it was cutting edge. A 1950 500 Precision, minimalistic and elegant. Another 1940 Triumph, because one just isn't enough. And then a 1927 Scott Super Squirrel 2-stroke. This one's fascinating. Open frame design, advanced for its time, and full of quirky engineering. A 1905 Brown 500cc. The sign says only 6 known to exist, and now I've seen one in person. And then a 1921 Baby Triumph, charming and tidy, but a big part of motorcycle history. And here's one monster to round things up of this. It's a very special Yamaha project. Started life as a 1984 RD 350 YPVS, but now, still, it's something else entirely. It has reverse cylinders, like a TZ 350, and it had everything thrown at it. TZ gearbox, clutch, water pump, YZR 500 GP parts, carbon cams, upgraded master cylinder, the lot, and it produces 70 brake horsepower at the rear wheel, up from the standard 39 to 42 brake horsepower. It's not retro, it's a full-on reinvention, pure mad genius. And now something truly special. There was the Joey Dunlop celebration stand. It features Joey's racing leathers, helmet, trophies, and 6 of his original bikes. These are priceless pieces from the Dunlop family collection. Motorsport history on wheels. And this is just a taste of what's coming up at the special Joey Dunlop event in Ballymoney on Saturday, the May the 4th, 2025. Mark the date. If you're a fan of road racing, this is one you won't want to miss. And now from legends of racing and something much closer to home, a Lambretta Evening Herald delivery scooter. This instantly took me back to growing up in Dublin. These little 2-strokes used to rip through the city traffic, carrying stacks of newspapers, dodging cars and puddles with terrifying style. This one is pristine. I don't remember any of them ever being this clean, but I do remember the sound, the smoke, and the crazy riding, with that red rear box screeching as it scraped the road through corners. This one even has the original tarpaulin to keep the papers dry in the good old Dublin rain. And right next to it was a very customized scooter, full of style. Engraved metalwork, flash paint, and clearly built to be showing off. Time for the Italians. First up, a real oddball, in the best possible way, a 1952 Moto Guzzi Giletto with a 192cc 2-stroke engine, a cross between a scooter and a motorcycle, because it had full-size 17-inch wheels and scooter-style bodywork. I think it was Italy's answer to the Velocette LE, only more elegant and stylish. This one has dual seats, pannier rails, a spare wheel, and loads of charm. Next, a tiny and delightful 1954 Moto Guzzi Guzzino Rossi. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Also known as Moto Leggera 65. This one was the commuter bike of the post-war Italy, produced from 1946 to 1954. It was simple, reliable, and even saw action in racing. Racing like Umbro Massetti's cut his teeth on bikes like this, lightweight, affordable, and full of character. We move into the more modern Italian muscle. A Ducati Monster 1200 in black. Apparently, it's the only one in Ireland with this exact colour scheme, according to the very proud lady owner. It's fitted with Stax Teminoni carbon cans and looks like it means business. Next was a Ducati Street Fighter Beat 4. All angry lines and wild performance, black and grey livery, single-sided swinging arm, and a big Euro emission taming exhaust under it. Not the bike for the faint-hearted, or to keep your licence. And then onto proper Ducati Exotica. A Ducati Desmositi RR, a true MotoGP bike for the road. Only 1,500 were made. This 989 V4 engine produced 200 brake horsepower, the kind of machine you don't just own, you collect. Stunning to see it in the flesh. And right behind it, a Ducati 999R Xerox replica in reverse colour scheme with white taking centre stage. These are packed with upgrades over the standard model. Very collectible, very fast. And then a beast, a Ducati 998 Tri-Bayless race replica. There were just 400 of these built, full own suspension and putting out more than 155 brake horsepower, built to honour a great legend and absolutely dripping in Ducati racing heritage. And finally, the bike that's currently closest to my heart, my own Laverda 500, which won Best 1970s Motorcycle at the show. I had a little display of photos of how the bike arrived and its known history. It's been a mad, oily journey, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. If you're interested in the joys and occasional headaches of living with a classic, I've got a few videos on the channel dedicated to this bike. Feel free to check them out. Thank you for watching this long but hopefully enjoyable walk through the show. If you've made it this far, fair play to you. Hit like, comment with your favourite bike and subscribe if you want to see more. Ride safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you.